They say the choices you make today will either set you free tomorrow or chain you with regret. And the truth is, discipline hurts. Waking up earlier than your body wants to. Saying no when everyone else is saying yes. Showing up when no one else is watching. It burns. It stings. It feels heavy. But let me ask you this, what hurts more? The sweat you pour into discipline or the tears you cry when you realize you wasted years of your life? Think about it. Regret is a thief. It creeps into your heart when you look back at what you could have been, what you could have done, what you should have chased. And it whispers, it's too late. That sting doesn't last a moment. It lasts a lifetime. But discipline is pain with a purpose. Discipline is pain that pays you back with freedom, pride, and power. Close your eyes for a second and picture this. Two versions of you exist in the future. One is standing tall, proud, holding the rewards of years of sacrifice, discipline, and focus. The other is sitting in silence, weighed down by the chains of regret, wishing they had the courage to keep going when it mattered most. Which version will you be? See, life is a battle between two pains, the short-term pain of discipline or the endless pain of regret. You can't escape pain. You just get to choose your flavor. That's the truth no one wants to hear. The student grinding late at night, the athlete pushing through exhaustion, the dreamer building in silence while everyone else is sleeping. They aren't avoiding pain. They're simply choosing the pain that will one day pay off. Every morning you hit snooze instead of rising. Every workout you skip. Every promise you break to yourself. You're making a choice. And those choices add up. Discipline may feel like chains now, but those chains are the very things that build your freedom. Regret, on the other hand, feels easy in the moment. Skip the effort, avoid the work, take the shortcut. But regret waits. It waits until the years have slipped by. It waits until you're staring at the dreams you left behind. And then it strikes, and that pain lingers forever. Look around you. Every person who has achieved greatness, whether it's in business, sports, or life, didn't get there because it was easy. They got there because they chose discipline when others chose comfort. Kobe Bryant didn't just show up on game day. He was in the gym at 4 a.m. long before the world was awake. Steve Jobs didn't create Apple by luck. He obsessed over discipline, over details, over showing up day after day. Ordinary people with extraordinary discipline, who refuse to live with regret. And I know, discipline feels unfair sometimes. You watch your friends out having fun while you're stuck grinding. You see others coasting while you're carrying the weight. But remember this, discipline is not punishment, it's investment. Every small act of discipline is a brick you're laying in the foundation of your future. And one day, when you're standing in the house of success you built, you'll realize the pain was worth it. But if you avoid discipline, if you choose comfort, if you let laziness or fear win, you're making a different investment. You're putting your energy into regret. And regret pays interest forever. It never lets you rest. It wakes you up at night. It whispers, what if you had tried harder? What if you didn't quit? What if you believed in yourself just a little longer? That's a debt you don't want to carry. Let me make it clear, discipline is temporary. It hurts in the moment, but it passes. Regret is permanent. It follows you, it weighs you down, and it steals the life you could have lived. Which pain are you willing to carry? Imagine yourself 5 years from now. If you start today, choosing discipline over excuses, action over hesitation, consistency over laziness, you could be unrecognizable in the best way possible. Your body stronger, your mind sharper, your life fuller, your opportunities endless. But if you keep putting it off, if you keep saying tomorrow, if you keep choosing comfort, you'll wake up 5 years older, 5 years weaker, 5 years deeper into regret. And that's the truth most people can't face. They think discipline is the enemy, when in reality, it's the shield against the true enemy, regret. So, I'll ask you again, what hurts more? Getting up early, working late, pushing harder, sacrificing now? Or looking back one day with nothing but what if echoing in your heart? Because the pain of discipline is nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to the pain of regret. This is your moment, right here, right now. You can't control your past, but you can control today. You can decide that discipline is the pain you're willing to endure, because it's the only pain that will set you free. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up when it's hard, when you don't feel like it, when the world says quit. That's the secret. And every time you choose discipline, you're winning a war inside yourself. You're proving to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses, tougher than your feelings, and greater than your comfort zone. Pain is unavoidable, but regret is optional. And if you want to know what real strength feels like, if you want to know what victory tastes like, if you want to know what freedom looks like, you'll only find it on the other side of discipline. Because one day, when the rewards come, when your sacrifices pay off, when you look in the mirror and see the person you fought to become, you'll realize the truth. The pain of discipline was nothing, but the pain of regret? That would have been unbearable. Discipline is not glamorous. Nobody claps for you when you wake up before dawn. Nobody notices when you put your phone away to focus on your goals. Nobody cheers when you choose the gym over the couch, or when you study instead of scrolling through endless distractions. The world doesn't applaud discipline in the moment. But later, the world can't ignore the results discipline brings. And that's the hard part. Regret is easy to avoid today. Skip the hard thing, and you feel relief instantly. But discipline requires delayed gratification. It's the sacrifice today for a reward tomorrow. The problem is, tomorrow feels far away. Comfort whispers, relax. You deserve a break. You can try later. But regret is built on laters that never came. Let's be real. Discipline hurts because it asks you to go against human nature. Your brain craves comfort. It wants the dopamine hit now, not years from now. That's why discipline feels like pain. But here's the difference. Discipline is controlled pain. It's chosen pain. It's pain with purpose. And every time you choose it, you're building a muscle that will carry you to greatness. Think of a professional athlete. They don't just push through workouts because they enjoy pain. They push because they know the pain of training is temporary, but the glory of victory lasts forever. Michael Jordan didn't become a legend because he wanted comfort. He became one because he out-disciplined everyone else. The hours in the gym, the missed parties, the sacrifices, those were the pain of discipline. But if he had skipped them, he would have carried the pain of regret, wondering what could have been. The same goes for you. Your dream, whether it's building a business, becoming financially free, transforming your body, or breaking generational cycles, it's going to demand sacrifice. It's going to demand discipline. And yes, that means pain. But that pain is nothing compared to looking back in 10 years and realizing you had the chance, the opportunity, the gift, and you wasted it. Here's something powerful to remember. Discipline doesn't just create results. It creates identity. Every time you follow through, even when it hurts, you prove to yourself who you are. You go from being someone who says, "I wish I could," to being someone who says, "I did." You stop living as a dreamer and start living as a doer. And when you do that, regret has no place in your life. Because regret only grows where discipline is absent. But let's talk about the other side for a moment, the pain of regret. Regret doesn't hurt like a sore muscle or an early morning. Regret hurts like a broken spirit. It creeps up in your 30s, 40s, 50s, when you realize time doesn't rewind. Regret isn't just pain, it's chains. It locks you in a mental prison of what if. What if I had tried harder? What if I didn't quit? What if I believed in myself? And those questions don't go away. They haunt you. Studies even show that when people reach the end of their lives, they don't regret the things they did. They regret the things they didn't do. They regret not chasing their dreams, not taking risks, not staying disciplined long enough to see the fruits of their labor. That's the ultimate pain, and you don't deserve to feel it. So what's the solution? Choose discipline now. Yes, it will hurt, but it will hurt far less than regret. Think about it like this. If you're trying to get in shape, discipline is the pain of waking up early, eating clean, and sweating through workouts. Regret is looking in the mirror years later, wishing you had started. If you're building a business, discipline is the late nights, the failures, the grind. Regret is working for someone else your entire life, wondering if your dream could have worked. Discipline gives you options. Regret steals them. But here's the catch. Discipline doesn't show results overnight. That's why so many people quit. They do it for a week, a month, maybe even a year, and when they don't see instant rewards, they give up. They trade long-term success for short-term comfort. That's the path of regret. But if you stay consistent, if you push through, if you remind yourself daily that discipline is the only way to freedom, you'll win. Ask yourself this. What do you want your future self to thank you for? Because the truth is, your future self is watching right now. Every choice you make is shaping the person you'll become. 5 years from now, you'll either be standing tall, proud, grateful for your discipline, or broken, bitter, drowning in regret. Which one will you choose? The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret is eternal. When you feel like quitting, remember that. When you feel like skipping the work, remember that. When you feel like giving in to comfort, remember that. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Because small acts of discipline, repeated daily, compound into greatness. One workout, one page read, 1 hour of focus. Alone, they feel small. But added together over months and years, they make you unstoppable. The question isn't, will I feel pain? The question is, which pain will I choose? Because one day, you'll look back. And the only thing worse than the pain of discipline is the regret of knowing you could have had it all, if only you stayed the course. So next time you feel tired, remember, pain is temporary. Next time you feel tempted to quit, remember, regret lasts forever. Next time comfort calls your name, remember, you're not chasing comfort, you're chasing freedom. And freedom only comes to those who choose discipline. Every champion, every leader, every success story you admire, none of them escaped discipline. Behind every headline achievement is a mountain of unseen sacrifice. The medals, the trophies, the businesses, the careers, the legacies, they were all built on choices made when no one was watching. That's the quiet truth. Discipline is lonely, but regret is lonelier. Let's be honest, discipline often feels unfair. You watch your friends go out, relax, enjoy themselves, while you're stuck grinding, studying, training, or working late. You feel like you're missing out. And maybe, in that moment, you are. But remember this. What feels like missing out today is really building a life where later, you'll miss out on nothing. On the other hand, people who avoid discipline may enjoy comfort now, but later, they'll miss out on everything they ever wanted. That's the trade-off. And you must decide which future you're willing to live with. Think about the student who studies while others party. Years later, that discipline turns into opportunity, a better career, financial freedom, choices in life. Meanwhile, those who chose short-term comfort often face long-term struggle. Or think about the athlete who trains relentlessly while others rest. When the spotlight shines, that discipline pays off. The crowd sees the victory, but not the years of sweat. That's why discipline is often misunderstood. It doesn't always give you something immediately. It silently prepares you, shaping you for the future. Discipline is the investment, regret is the debt. Which would you rather carry? Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Discipline doesn't just shape what you achieve, it shapes who you become. When you wake up early, when you stick to your plan, when you keep your promises to yourself, you're not just moving toward goals. You're proving to yourself that you're trustworthy. That builds self-respect. And self-respect is priceless. Regret does the opposite. It eats away at your confidence. It whispers, you had a chance and you blew it. That's the voice you don't want to hear in the mirror. But let's make this personal. Imagine yourself 10 years from now. Picture 2 versions of you. The first version, the disciplined you, walks with confidence, maybe in shape, maybe financially stable, maybe living the life you once only dreamed about. That version looks back and says, thank you. Thank you for enduring the pain. Thank you for sacrificing when it was hard. Thank you for not giving up. Now picture the other version, the regretful you. Overweight, stuck in a job you hate, drowning in debt, feeling bitter because you know deep down it wasn't life that stopped you, it was you. That version of you stares into the mirror and says, why didn't you try harder? Why didn't you stay consistent? Why did you give up? Both versions of you are possible. The one that wins is the one you choose every single day. And that choice is made in the small moments. The decision to study instead of procrastinate, to train instead of sleep in, to save instead of spend, to build instead of waste. Each small decision is a brick, and over time, those bricks build either a house of discipline or a prison of regret. And here's what's even more powerful. The pain of discipline doesn't get easier, it makes you stronger. The more you choose discipline, the more you raise your tolerance for discomfort. Eventually, what once felt impossible becomes your new normal. Waking up early becomes natural. Working hard becomes routine. Staying consistent becomes your identity. Regret works the opposite way. The more you avoid discipline, the weaker your tolerance for discomfort becomes. The smaller challenges feel impossible. Laziness becomes normal. Procrastination becomes routine. Quitting becomes your identity. And suddenly, regret doesn't just show up at the end of life. It starts showing up every day. So ask yourself, what kind of pain are you choosing? Here's the secret most people overlook. The pain of discipline and the pain of regret don't just differ in timing. They differ in outcome. The pain of discipline leads to growth. The pain of regret leads to decay. The pain of discipline is temporary discomfort with lasting rewards. The pain of regret is lasting discomfort with no rewards at all. Think of it like a seed. Planting and watering a seed every day is discipline. It's boring. It takes time. It doesn't look like much. But eventually, that seed becomes a tree that provides shade, fruit, and life. Now imagine never planting it. Years later, when you need the shade, when you need the fruit, when you need what the tree could have given, you'll feel regret. Because it could have been there, but you didn't do the work. Discipline plants seeds. Regret reminds you of the trees that never grew. That's why the most successful people in history don't shy away from discipline. They embrace it. They understand that the pain of hard work, sacrifice, and consistency is small compared to the joy of fulfillment, achievement, and freedom. But the beauty is, you don't have to wait 10 years to feel the power of discipline. Every time you choose it, even in small things, you feel a spark. That spark is pride. That spark is momentum. And momentum is the greatest fuel for success. The more you choose discipline, the stronger that fire becomes. So here's the challenge. When you feel the temptation to quit, when comfort whispers in your ear, stop and ask yourself one simple question. Which pain do I want? The pain of getting up now, or the regret of wishing I had later? The pain of effort, or the pain of excuse? The pain of sacrifice, or the pain of sorrow? The choice is yours. Always. Remember, discipline hurts now, but regret hurts forever. And once you've tasted regret, you'd give anything to go back and choose discipline instead. Don't let that be your story. Discipline is not punishment. It's preparation. Too many people confuse discipline with restriction, like it's something that takes life away from you. But here's the truth. Discipline gives you freedom. Freedom to live without limits, without constant stress, without regret weighing you down. Think about money. Saving, budgeting, and saying no to impulsive spending feels like discipline. It's uncomfortable in the moment. But later, when an emergency happens, or when you're ready to invest in your future, that discipline becomes freedom. Regret is the opposite. Living recklessly with money feels fun in the moment, but when bills pile up and opportunities pass you by, regret locks you into chains of debt. Or take your health. Choosing to exercise, to eat clean, to say no to junk food, that's discipline. It feels restrictive in the moment. But years later, when you still have energy, strength, and vitality, when others your age are slowing down, your discipline becomes your freedom. Regret, on the other hand, shows up in the form of sickness, fatigue, and wishing you had taken better care of yourself. This is the law of life. Every sacrifice you make now creates freedom later. Every freedom you take now without discipline creates regret later. But discipline is more than just action, it's identity. When you say, I am disciplined, you begin to live differently. You don't just go to the gym, you are someone who trains. You don't just study, you are someone who learns. You don't just show up on time, you are someone who honors commitment. And when discipline becomes who you are, regret doesn't even have room to grow. And here's what's powerful. The pain of discipline never feels as heavy when you tie it to purpose. Waking up early feels like suffering if you don't know why. But if you know that every early morning moves you closer to your dream, it doesn't feel like pain. It feels like progress. That's the secret difference between those who quit and those who push through. Quitters see discipline as punishment. Winners see discipline as investment. So how do you start shifting your mindset from punishment to investment? Begin with small promises. Tell yourself, I'm going to read for 10 minutes today, and then do it. Tell yourself, I'm going to work out for 20 minutes, and then show up. The size of the promise doesn't matter. The consistency does. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust. And trust in yourself is the foundation of greatness. Most people live in regret not because they aimed too high and failed, but because they aimed too low and succeeded. They settle for comfort. They settle for easy. They settle for average. And then, years later, they wonder why life feels empty. Don't let that be you. Don't trade a lifetime of fulfillment for a moment of ease. Understand this. Discipline doesn't take away joy. It delays it for something greater. That's why the most successful people practice delayed gratification. They're willing to wait, willing to work, willing to push through the present pain because they see the bigger picture. But regret? Regret is instant gratification's ugly shadow. It comes when the pleasure is gone, when the moment has passed, and all that's left is the reality of what you didn't do. That's the pain that lingers. That's the pain that doesn't leave. Picture this. Two people are given the same 24 hours every day. One chooses discipline, the other chooses comfort. 5 years later, they meet again. One is thriving, full of energy, opportunities, and confidence. The other is tired, stuck, and bitter. The difference wasn't luck. The difference was discipline. And maybe right now, you're thinking, but discipline is hard for me. I always quit. Let me tell you something. You're not weak. You've just been practicing the wrong kind of discipline. You've been disciplined in quitting, disciplined in procrastination, disciplined in making excuses. Every habit is discipline applied somewhere. The question is, are you disciplined in what destroys you or disciplined in what builds you? The good news? You can change. You can redirect your discipline. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. Don't wait for motivation. It fades. Build habits. They last. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire. And fire doesn't die if you keep feeding it. Think of your heroes, the people you admire most. Do you think they got there by talent alone? No. Talent starts the race, but discipline finishes it. Talent may open a door, but discipline keeps it open. Talent may give you potential, but discipline turns it into power. And here's the ultimate irony. The very things you fear missing out on by being disciplined, fun, freedom, comfort, are the things you gain more of later. The party lasts a night. Success lasts a lifetime. But regret lasts longer than both. One day, the pain you feel from saying no to distractions, to laziness, to comfort, will be nothing compared to the pride of saying yes to your future. One day, you'll look back and realize that every rep in the gym, every late night of studying, every hour of building, every sacrifice you made, it was all worth it. And on that day, the pain of discipline will feel like nothing. But if you choose comfort now, if you choose excuses, then one day, the pain of regret will feel like everything. So ask yourself right now, which future do you want to look back on? One where you sacrificed temporary comfort for permanent freedom? Or one where you sacrificed permanent freedom for temporary comfort? The choice is yours. And you make that choice today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is built by today's discipline. Tomorrow is destroyed by today's excuses. Discipline is temporary pain. Regret is permanent pain. And your future self is begging you to choose the pain that pays off. There will come a day when you sit with yourself in silence. No noise, no distractions, no audience, just you and your thoughts. On that day, you'll face one of two realities, the pride of discipline or the weight of regret. And make no mistake, both have a price. Discipline costs you now, but it rewards you forever. Regret saves you now, but it charges you everything later. The gym costs you sweat. The business costs you hours. The studying costs you focus. The dream costs you sacrifice. But regret? Regret costs you your confidence, your potential, your peace. When you avoid discipline, you may escape today's discomfort, but you step into tomorrow's despair. Regret is not just a memory of what you didn't do. It's a wound that never fully heals. It whispers, you could have been more. You should have tried harder. You didn't give it all. And those whispers become chains that hold people back for a lifetime. But when you embrace discipline, the story changes. You may feel the sting in the moment. Your muscles ache, your mind resists, your body wants to quit. But later, that sting becomes strength. Later, that resistance becomes resilience. Later, that fight becomes freedom. This is the truth most people don't want to face. Comfort is killing them. Comfort is the slow poison that convinces you everything is fine while your dreams quietly die inside you. Comfort makes you believe tomorrow will always be there, but tomorrow belongs only to the disciplined. Look back at history, at greatness, at legends. What do they all have in common? Discipline. Athletes, artists, leaders, entrepreneurs. All of them built their legacies not on talent alone, but on relentless discipline. They woke up when others slept. They worked when others quit. They sacrificed when others played. And because of that, they lived lives that most only dream about. But here's the part most people miss. Those great men and women weren't stronger than you. They weren't superhuman. They felt the same fear, the same laziness, the same temptation to quit. The only difference? They chose discipline over regret. And so can you. Ask yourself, what do you want more? A life of ease now or a life of pride later? Do you want to tell your children, your friends, yourself that you gave it everything? Or do you want to sit with regret, knowing you could have done more but didn't? Because here's what's guaranteed. Time will pass. Years will move. Life will keep going whether you rise or stay the same. And one day, you will look back. On that day, one truth will be crystal clear. You either paid the price of discipline or you're paying the cost of regret. And trust me, regret is far more expensive. The pain of discipline is sharp but short. The pain of regret is dull but endless. Discipline makes you soar today, but proud tomorrow. Regret makes you comfortable today, but broken tomorrow. So choose your pain wisely. And let me tell you this, you are capable of more than you think. The strength you need to be disciplined is already inside you. It doesn't come from motivation, it comes from decision. One decision to get up. One decision to keep going. One decision to push past the excuses. You don't need to see the entire path, you just need to take the first step. Discipline is built step by step, habit by habit, choice by choice. And every time you choose discipline over regret, you create a future worth living. Think about this. 1 year from now, you'll look back at today. You'll either be thankful you started, or you'll wish you had. The difference will be the discipline you practice right now. So what are you waiting for? That dream you've been sitting on? Start. That fitness goal you've been delaying? Get up and move. That business idea you've been afraid of? Take the first step. That version of yourself you've been imagining? Build it with discipline today. Because the clock is ticking and every second counts. And every second, you're either moving toward discipline or regret. Here's the final truth. The pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of regret. Discipline shapes you, refines you, strengthens you. Regret destroys you, weakens you, and follows you forever. So make your choice. Don't just listen to this message, live it. Don't just feel inspired, act on it. Don't just plan, execute. Your future self is waiting, and they're begging you not to quit. So rise, commit, push, sacrifice, fight, endure. And one day, when you look back, you won't just be proud, you'll be unstoppable. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pride of discipline is eternal. Now go. Be disciplined. Be relentless. Be legendary.